Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Learn Simple English, where learning English is easy and fun. I'm Ella.
Hello, Ella. Hi, everyone. It is so wonderful to be here today with all of you. I am very happy to talk about our topic today.
I am happy too, Luke. You know, I noticed something interesting this morning. I was thinking about my daily routine and how many small habits I have that I never really talk about in English.
Oh, that's interesting. What kind of habits are you thinking about?
Well, like drinking a glass of water first thing in the morning, or checking my phone for exactly 5 minutes before I get out of bed. Small things like that. Things we do every single day without thinking about them.
Yes, I have those too. I always make my bed right after I wake up. I don't know why, but I feel better when my bed is made. It's become a habit now.
That's a great habit, Luke. And you know what? These small habits are actually very important to talk about, especially when you're having conversations with friends or colleagues in English. People love sharing about their daily routines and habits.
That's very true. When I meet someone new and we're trying to find things to talk about, habits and routines are always safe topics. Everyone has them, and they're easy to discuss.
Exactly. So today we're going to learn how to talk about small habits in English. We'll learn the vocabulary, the phrases, and how to have natural conversations about daily routines and habits.
I love this topic because it's so practical. You can use these phrases every day when you're talking to people.
Yes. And speaking of talking to people, before we dive into our lesson today, I want to ask all of you wonderful listeners for a small favor. If you're enjoying our podcast and learning from our lessons, please click the like button right now. It really helps us reach more English learners like you.
And please subscribe to the Learn Simple English channel. When you subscribe, you'll never miss our fun and easy lessons. We post new episodes every week.
Yes. And if you know friends or family members who are learning English, please share this podcast with them. They will love these practical tips too. The more people we can help, the happier we are.
Okay, Ella, sorry.
It's okay, Luke. We all make mistakes. That's part of learning.
Yes, exactly. So, Ella, where should we start? How do we begin talking about habits?
Well, I think the first thing we need to know is how to describe frequency. How often do you do something? This is the key to talking about habits.
Oh, frequency words. Those are very important. Like always, usually, sometimes, never.
Exactly. Let me give you the full list from most frequent to least frequent. We have always, almost always, usually, often, sometimes, occasionally, rarely, almost never, and never.
That's a lot of words. But they're all very useful. For example, I always drink coffee in the morning. Always means 100% of the time, every single day without exception.
Perfect example. And I usually go for a walk in the evening. Usually means most days, maybe 80 or 90% of the time, but not absolutely every day.
Right? And sometimes I watch TV before bed. Sometimes means maybe 50% of the time. It's not regular, but it happens.
Good. And I rarely eat fast food. Rarely means almost never, maybe once every few months, or even less.
These words are powerful because they help you describe your habits very clearly. Instead of just saying, I exercise, you can say, I usually exercise 3 times a week, or I occasionally exercise on weekends.
That's much better. It gives people a real picture of your routine. Now let's talk about how to introduce a habit when you're having a conversation.
Okay, how do we do that?
There are some really useful phrases. You can say, I have a habit of, and then describe what you do. For example, I have a habit of reading before bed every night.
Oh, that's nice. I can say, I have a habit of making coffee first thing in the morning, even before I say good morning to anyone.
That's very natural, Luke. Another phrase you can use is, I'm in the habit of, this means the same thing. I'm in the habit of checking my email right after breakfast.
Yes, I do that too. Technology habits are very common these days. We're all in the habit of looking at our phones way too much.
That's so true. And if you want to talk about something you do regularly without calling it a habit, you can just say, I tend to. For example, I tend to drink a lot of water throughout the day.
I tend to stay up late on weekends because I don't have to wake up early the next morning. Is that right?
Perfect. That's exactly how we use it. Now, what about when you want to talk about building a new habit or starting something new?
Oh, that's a good question. I think many people want to talk about habits they're trying to develop, especially at the beginning of a new year.
Yes, exactly. You can say, I'm trying to get into the habit of, and then describe the new habit. For example, I'm trying to get into the habit of waking up at 6 a.m. every morning.
That's a tough one. I'm trying to get into the habit of exercising before work, but it's difficult. Some mornings I'm just too tired.
I understand. Building new habits is challenging. You can also say, I'm working on drinking less coffee and more water.
Or, I'm working on reducing my screen time before bed because I know it affects my sleep quality.
Those are great examples. Now let's talk about breaking bad habits or stopping habits that aren't good for us.
Oh yes, we all have some habits we want to stop. How do we talk about those?
You can say, I'm trying to break the habit of, for example, I'm trying to break the habit of snacking late at night.
I have that habit too. I'm trying to break the habit of checking social media first thing in the morning because it makes me anxious.
That's very honest, Luke. Another phrase is, I'm trying to stop, which is more direct. I'm trying to stop biting my nails, or I'm trying to stop drinking soda.
These are all very common things people talk about. And you know what I've noticed? When you share your struggles with habits, people often share theirs too, and it becomes a really good conversation.
That's absolutely true. People connect over shared experiences. If you say, I'm trying to wake up earlier, but I keep hitting the snooze button, someone will probably say, oh my God, me too. I do the same thing.
Exactly. It's a great way to build relationships and find common ground with people. Now, how do we ask other people about their habits?
Good question. The simplest way is to ask, do you have any daily habits? Or, what's your morning routine like?
I like asking, are you a morning person or a night person? That question always leads to interesting conversations about sleep habits and productivity.
That's a great question. You can also ask more specific questions like, how often do you exercise? Or, do you have any healthy habits you're proud of?
Or, what's one habit you wish you could change? That's a deeper question, but it can lead to meaningful conversations.
Yes, it shows you're interested in the person, not just making small talk. Now let's practice some natural conversations about habits so you can hear how these phrases sound in real life.
Good idea. Let's imagine we're two friends meeting for coffee and we start talking about our morning routines.
Okay, I'll start. Hey Luke, you always seem so energetic in the morning. What's your secret?
Oh, thank you. Well, I have a pretty strict morning routine that I follow almost every day. I usually wake up around 6:30, and the first thing I do is drink a big glass of water. Then I make my bed because it helps me feel productive from the very beginning of the day.
That's impressive. I'm trying to get into the habit of waking up earlier, but I tend to hit the snooze button at least 3 times before I actually get up.
I used to do that too. I was in the habit of staying in bed until the last possible minute, but then I started putting my alarm across the room, so I have to physically get out of bed to turn it off. It really works.
That's a smart trick. Once you're up, you might as well stay up, right? Do you exercise in the morning?
I'm working on it. I usually try to do at least 15 minutes of stretching or yoga. I'm not very consistent with it yet, but I'm getting better. What about you? Do you have any morning habits?
Well, I always make coffee before I do anything else. I can't function without my morning coffee. And I'm in the habit of checking my phone while I drink it, which I know isn't the healthiest habit, but I'm working on reducing that.
Yeah, I'm trying to break that habit too. It's so easy to get sucked into social media first thing in the morning and waste half an hour before you even realize it.
Exactly. I'm trying to replace that habit with reading instead. I've started keeping a book on my nightstand so I can read a few pages instead of scrolling through my phone.
That's a great idea. How's that going for you?
It's going pretty well. I tend to stick with it during the week, but on weekends I'm more relaxed about it. Sometimes I just want to stay in bed and scroll mindlessly, you know?
I completely understand. We all need those lazy mornings sometimes. The important thing is that you're aware of your habits and you're making small improvements.
Exactly. And that's what we want everyone listening to understand. Small habits matter, and talking about them in English is a great way to practice the language and connect with people.
That's right. And you know what? We should talk about some common habits that people often discuss in English-speaking countries.
Good idea. Let's start with morning habits because we've been talking about those. Common morning habits include drinking coffee or tea, checking emails, taking a shower, eating breakfast, exercising, meditating, and reading the news.
Yes, and people often ask, are you a coffee person or a tea person? That's a classic conversation starter.
True. Then we have work habits or productivity habits. Things like making to-do lists, taking regular breaks, organizing your workspace, or using specific apps to stay focused.
I'm definitely in the habit of making lists. I can't start my workday without writing down everything I need to accomplish. It helps me feel organized and less overwhelmed.
I'm the opposite. I tend to just jump into tasks without planning, which sometimes works but sometimes leads to chaos. I'm trying to get into the habit of planning my day the night before.
That's a good habit to develop. What about evening habits? Those are important too.
Yes. Common evening habits include cooking dinner, spending time with family, watching TV or streaming shows, reading, journaling, preparing for the next day, and having a skincare routine.
I'm in the habit of turning off all screens at least 30 minutes before bed. It really helps me sleep better. I usually read during that time or just relax.
That's a healthy habit. I'm trying to do the same, but I often fail because I get caught up watching just one more episode of whatever show I'm currently binge watching.
We've all been there. That's called the just one more episode habit, and it's a hard one to break.
It really is. Now, let's talk about how to respond when someone tells you about their habits. This is important for keeping the conversation going.
Right? You don't want to just say okay or that's nice and end the conversation. You want to show interest and engagement.
Exactly. If someone says, I always wake up at 5 a.m. to exercise, you can respond with things like, wow, that's impressive. I could never do that. Or, that takes real discipline. How long have you been doing that?
Or if someone says, I'm trying to break the habit of eating sugar, you can say, that's tough. I'm working on the same thing. How's it going for you?
Perfect. Those responses show empathy and keep the conversation flowing. You can also share your own related habit. If someone talks about their exercise routine, you can say, that's great. I'm trying to build an exercise habit too, but I'm not very consistent yet.
Yes, finding common ground is key to good conversations. And it's okay to admit that you struggle with certain habits. It makes you more relatable and human.
Absolutely. Nobody's perfect, and we all have habits we're working on improving. That's part of being human.
Now, Ella, I think we should talk about some vocabulary specifically related to habits. There are some useful words and phrases that come up a lot in these conversations.
Good idea. Let's start with routine. A routine is a sequence of actions you do regularly, especially at particular times. My morning routine takes about an hour, or I have a bedtime routine that helps me relax.
Yes, and ritual is similar, but often implies something more meaningful or ceremonial. My Sunday morning coffee ritual is sacred to me, sounds more special than just saying habit.
That's true. Another useful word is consistency. If you're consistent with a habit, it means you do it regularly without missing. I've been very consistent with my meditation practice for the last 3 months.
And the opposite is inconsistent. I'm pretty inconsistent with my exercise routine. Some weeks I go to the gym 5 times, and other weeks I don't go at all.
Right. We also have discipline, which means the ability to control yourself and make yourself do things even when you don't want to. It takes a lot of discipline to wake up early every day.
And willpower is similar. I don't have the willpower to resist chocolate when it's in front of me.
Those are great words. Another common phrase is to fall into a habit, which means to start doing something regularly without really planning to. I fell into the habit of watching TV during dinner, and now I do it every night.
Or to get out of the habit, which means to stop doing something you used to do regularly. I got out of the habit of exercising during the pandemic, and now it's hard to start again.
Yes, these phrases are very natural and common in everyday English. Now let's do another practice conversation, but this time let's talk about habits we want to change or improve.
Okay, good idea. I'll start. Ella, I've been thinking about my evening habits lately. I tend to stay up really late browsing the internet, and then I'm exhausted the next day. I need to change this.
I completely understand. I have a similar problem. What are you planning to do about it?
Well, I'm trying to get into the habit of setting a specific bedtime and actually sticking to it. I'm also working on creating a better evening routine that doesn't involve screens. Maybe reading or listening to music instead.
That sounds like a solid plan. Have you started yet? Or is this something you're planning to start?
I started this week, actually. So far, I've been pretty consistent. I set an alarm on my phone for 10 p.m. that reminds me to start winding down. Then I try to be in bed by 11.
That's great. How are you feeling? Are you sleeping better?
Honestly, yes. I feel more rested in the mornings and I'm not as grumpy. It's amazing how much difference one small change can make. What about you? Are there any habits you're working on?
I'm trying to break the habit of snacking while I work. I tend to eat mindlessly when I'm focused on something, and before I know it, I've eaten an entire bag of chips without even tasting them.
Oh, that's a tough one. What's your strategy?
I'm trying to be more mindful about when I eat. I'm working on taking real breaks for snacks instead of eating at my desk. And I'm trying to replace unhealthy snacks with healthier options like fruit or nuts.
That's smart. How's it going so far?
It's challenging, I won't lie. Some days I'm really good about it, and other days I slip back into old patterns. But I'm trying not to be too hard on myself. Building new habits takes time.
That's a really healthy attitude. Progress isn't always linear, and it's okay to have setbacks.
Exactly. And that's an important point for our listeners too. When you're building new habits or breaking old ones, don't expect perfection. Just keep trying and celebrate small wins.
Yes, absolutely. Even if you only succeed 3 days out of 7, that's still progress. It's better than not trying at all.
Well said, Luke. Now, before we wrap up today's episode, let's do a quick review of the key phrases we learned for talking about habits.
Good idea. Let's start with describing how often you do something. You can use frequency words like always, usually, often, sometimes, rarely, and never.
Right? And to introduce a habit, you can say, I have a habit of, or I'm in the habit of, or I tend to.
For new habits you're trying to build, say, I'm trying to get into the habit of, or I'm working on.
And for bad habits you want to stop, say, I'm trying to break the habit of, or I'm trying to stop.
To ask others about their habits, try questions like, what's your morning routine like? Or do you have any daily habits or aren't? Or how often do you?
And remember to show interest when someone shares their habits. Respond with things like, that's impressive, or I'm working on the same thing, or how's that going for you?
Perfect summary. These phrases will help you have natural, engaging conversations about habits in English.
And remember, talking about habits is a great way to get to know people better and find things in common. Don't be afraid to share your struggles and imperfections. It makes you more relatable.
Absolutely. We all have habits we're proud of and habits we wish we could change. That's what makes us human.
Well, everyone, we've reached the end of today's episode. I hope you found these tips and phrases useful.
We would love to hear from you. In the comments below, tell us about one habit you have or one habit you're trying to build. What are you working on?
Yes, please share with us. We read all your comments and we love learning about your experiences. It helps us create better lessons for you.
And if you enjoyed today's episode, please remember to like this video. It really helps other English learners find our channel.
Please subscribe to Learn Simple English so you never miss our weekly lessons. We have so many more great topics coming up.
And share this podcast with your friends, family, or classmates who are learning English. The more people we can help, the better.
Thank you so much for spending this time with us today. You're all doing an amazing job with your English learning.
Yes, keep practicing, keep building good habits, and keep being kind to yourself. Learning a language is a journey, not a race.
We'll see you in the next episode. Until then, stay curious and keep learning.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye-bye. See you next time.